Just squeezed it in the back. I have to start. Okay. Hi, welcome. This is our social and ELL2 final resource project. My name's Dan,
I'm Abby. I'm Jamie.
and let's get started right away. So, to focus on how to improve literacy in secondary classes, improving literacy in secondary classes is a significant aspect to ensuring students to learn to the best of their abilities by comprehending and retaining information they are given. For example, in social studies, it is often used that we use a book a lot. Using a book a lot, making reading comprehension key so students can, learn to the best of their ability and retain the information that they might use one day. In this presentation, we'll be going through methods in secondary school classrooms that'll improve students' comprehension and reading fluency. Using methods that incorporate emphasis on literacy throughout your lessons will improve the students' abilities in the area of literacy and comprehension.
All right. So one of the methods that we'll be talking about is the PQ4R method. The PQ4R method is a great method to have students use while reading any type of text, so it can be used in any content area. And it helps students pick out key points of a text and give them a deeper understanding of the material. So this is what it stands for. P is preview, Q is question, and then the four R's go read, reflect, recite, and review. And then you would take a textbook like this and you would have students look at headings and look at the bolded words and the outlined words. That would be how they preview. So P for preview is when they go through chapter titles, headings, highlighted, bolded, or italicized words. Q, you have the students write down or mentally know any information that they would like to learn or know by the end of their reading. And then read, obviously, you just have students read through the text and then have them take notes about any information that sticks out to them. Reflect, you should have the students reflect on the text with another person, so read through their notes with somebody else, like a partner at their table or one of their friends. And then for recite, have them recite their notes, either verbally or they can rewrite them down. And you can have them do this with partners too if you think that will help. And then review, just review the questions that you had them write down at the beginning and then answer them. Why is it important? So it allows students to analyze the text they're reading, and by taking notes and reciting the information, students are able to comprehend the material and then be able to recall it after they have read it. And they will be able to read the text fluently by going through this many steps with the text. We also have text structure mapping, so this is used to analyze text and dissect information. They can work in groups where they're all at different literacy levels. The teacher will just need to print off the page and then supply either colored pencil or highlighters, whichever you can. So you might need to provide an example at the front of the room, just mirror it up to the board. So make a list of things for students to find or dissect in the text. This can be questions or vocabulary words, definitions, anything you want. Have students read through the text together and find things listed on the sheet and have them use their highlighters or colored pencils to mark out this information. So why is it important? It achieves three main goals in literacy. It can show students how to use the text for the class. So if it's a textbook, it shows them where vocab words can be found, what the headings mean, things like that. It teaches students how to dissect any sort of text. So when they see italicized words or bolded words, they know how to read them and what they can mean. And then it helps students with low reading levels develop their skills. So it gives them something to help them read other texts.
The next strategy we have is jigsaw reading. So jigsaw reading is a technique that breaks up like longer text into small sections and allows students to work together in small groups to become expert on their specific section. And so once they become experts on their section by reading it and discussing it with their small group, they switch groups and then they present what they are an expert on now to a larger group, and each student does that. So then it all fits together like a jigsaw puzzle, and everybody gets to know all of the information. So, how to do the jigsaw thing? So, you tell students what they're reading about by giving a brief description about the text as a whole, and then kind of ask them to make predictions of what they're going to read, what that kind of thing is, and then shares the new vocabulary they need to learn before reading. This is really important in like English classrooms because there's a lot of new words they might not know or might need some little help on. After that, you divide them into groups, one for each section of the longer text, and explain to them that they'll be responsible for reading that text and answering the comprehension questions that relate to that section. After that, you give them some time to work in their groups and discuss their section of the text, answer those questions. So then when they eventually go to their new groups, they can all share the reading comprehension questions with each other and they'll have them all filled in and know what to do. Uh, each member shares their answers and then they kind of get together, they discuss the question and answers. If any other groups have any questions for the expert group, they can ask those. And then, yeah, at the end, they'll all know the answers to their questions and everybody will be good to go. This is really good for differentiation too because they work well in varied reading level classes. So if you have some students that are lower reading, you can give them a little shorter or easier part of the jigsaw text to work on together so that they can finish that part. And then some of the harder ones they can get from their peers and ask questions if they would need to. As you create the questions, you can create more basic ones for those lower level readers or more thought provoking ones for the higher level. And then once they get together, they can discuss those like that. Why is this important? It's important because they need to be able to comprehend and discuss what they read in their section of the text while also moving to a new group, having to remember and comprehend what they read to share that information with others, and so they all know everything that happened in the text. It also prompts student-led discussions and small presentations in a way that allows students to be more comfortable talking and presenting to a small group instead of an entire class that they already know all the information on. It's a great way to have students build comprehension skills, connections with their peers, and gives them the chance to learn and share information in a more non-traditional way.
And finally, the last thing that we could introduce into a classroom that's a little bit of a kid thing, but can be used in secondary classes as well, is readers' theaters. It involves students reading a script out loud with expression and emphasizing fluency and reading instructions. For example, in my sixth grade field experience classroom, we did this with early Ojibwe and Dakota with the interaction between them and the French. It promotes fluency, it teaches students how to read out loud and with passion and emotion, and it helps them build with reading confidence. Now, how would you use it? Of course, it's kind of a simplistic form of how you'd use it. You'd choose a story that can be divided into parts for a character to assign the parts to each child or to each person. Three, ask students to read their scripts, oral for practice, and if you wanted to, you could have them host a play if you really wanted to. But most of the time in these secondary classrooms, they'll just be reading out loud with some emotion if you get lucky. And finally, this is great for differentiation because you can use easier scripts, of course, with fewer words for struggling readers. You can write a script for students and then print it, having them only focus on their parts. Give students their part in advance for more readings. They can practice with their parents at home. Some people might be skittish about reading out loud, or some might not want to do it at all. Have students read parts together and allow advanced students to write parts of the script or to go off on their own. The best example I can think of for my readers theaters thing is we did a story about Anne Frank too in our sixth grade classroom about her dad, and mom all being trapped and running from the Nazi regime at the time. These are why I would use reading theater in the classroom. Now, I believe that is the end of the slides, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation. And I hope you enjoyed and let us know if we can do anything better. Thank you.